Welcome to Showing Up Anyway, the podcast for people who are not perfect. On this show, we talk about intuitive eating, fitness without obsession, and healing your relationship with food and your body. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's episode 8 of Showing Up Anyway. I'm Coach Adam, and look who showed up. You did, and I'm so glad you're here. You know, last week we talked a lot about habits, how they're built in our brain, why our brains resist change, and that really got me thinking, what are we building habits for? What are we chasing? Have you ever asked yourself that? I think after training clients for a decade, overwhelmingly, it's because we want to be thinner most of the time. We want a number on the scale to be smaller. We want to go down a pant size. We want to finally love what we see in the mirror because many of us have been taught over and over to hate ourselves. And it would be pretty silly of me to just come on here and tell you, just love yourself, as if it were that easy, wouldn't it? I'm not going to do that. I could tell you all about body positivity and why you're worthy and valuable and why your body is perfect and beautiful just the way that it is. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter what I say, does it? It doesn't matter what your partner says when they tell you that they love you just the way you are. It doesn't matter what your friends say when they tell you that you're hot and perfect and they love you. The only person in your life who you actually are going to listen to is you. And for better or for worse, you can be awfully convincing. So today, I'm going to do my best to teach you about not body positivity, but body neutrality. And we're also going to talk about non-scale victories. And I think that these two powerful ideas can completely shift the way that you define progress and the way that you treat and think about your body. By the end of this episode, I do not expect you to all of a sudden start loving yourself. I can do a lot, but I can't do that. Not right away. I don't expect you to just flip a light switch and become Mr. and Mrs. Body Positivity overnight. What I do hope that this episode helps you do is get this much closer to feeling okay about your body. That is body neutrality. And that's a different approach, I know. It's the idea that you don't have to love your body. You also don't have to hate it. It's the middle ground. It's about accepting your body the way that it is without obsessing over it one way or the other. Without needing to constantly hype it up, but without completely trashing it either. It's saying, hey body, you're here, I'm here. I appreciate what you do. I care about you. We're in this together. Because you take care of things that you care about, don't you? Maybe you don't think that your body is the most beautiful body in the world. I get it. You don't have to. But you can't deny it's gotten you this far. It's done its best, given the circumstances. And everyone's abilities are different, okay? But you can probably pick out some of the things that your body does for you. You might be able to stand up, walk around, breathe, hug people you love, pick up your child, even just existing. It's thanks to that body. That deserves some appreciation, don't you think? Now let's contrast that with body positivity, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up. Body positivity says, I love my body no matter what. I'm beautiful exactly the way that I am, which, don't get me wrong, is a lovely message. And for some people, that's very empowering. But for other people, especially if you've spent years and years, practically your whole life, hating your body, that message can feel awfully fake. Just going to be honest. Like if you've been trained your whole life to pick yourself apart, jumping straight to, I love everything about me, seems pretty damn impossible. And to be honest, it might even make you feel worse if you're not able to believe that. And so that's where neutrality comes in. It says, my body is only one part of who I am. It doesn't dominate how I feel about myself. I don't have to feel beautiful today. I don't have to love what I see right now in the mirror. But my body still deserves food. It deserves movement and rest because it does a lot for me. And I respect it enough to take care of it. I like that. I'm going to write that down. Maybe you should write it down. Stick it on your mirror. Repeat it every morning, okay? I hope that it brings you some relief. Diet culture is constantly telling you that your body is not worth loving unless it's a particular shape or a particular size. Body neutrality says it's okay to be, well, just be. It's okay to just be. So instead of thinking, how can I make my body look better? You start asking yourself, how do I feel today? It starts to become about how your body functions and feels instead of just how it looks. And that mindset is really liberating. Okay, it's freedom. It gives you hours back of your life. You don't owe the world conventional beauty. Okay, you certainly don't owe it thinness. You owe yourself peace. And body neutrality might be the most realistic way to start claiming that. One huge thing that messes with your mind on a journey like this is constantly needing to weigh yourself. And I don't know how many times I've made videos about this and told my clients and followers to just put the scale away, but for some reason, that little plastic square of doom has so much power over people. You wake up, you do a little yawny yawn, you check your phone, and then you go step on the scale. And what it says has the ability to make or break your day. If the number went down, great, you're feeling good. If it went up, suddenly everything's ruined. If it stayed the same, you feel the same way. It's ruined. It doesn't matter how well you slept. It doesn't matter how strong you're getting or how you felt at the gym or how many nourishing meals you're eating. That number is like an F on your report card, okay? That's not normal. That's conditioning. That's diet culture. Because here's what the scale actually measures: gravity. That's it. It doesn't tell you anything about your hydration or your muscle mass, unless you have one of those fancy ones. But still, it's not able to account for your salt intake, whether you're bloated, you're constipated, you're stressed, you're ovulating, or whatever, okay? It's not a lie detector. It's not a health meter. It's not entirely useless, but it's just one data point. And do you want to know what else the scale doesn't measure? It doesn't know how much better you've been sleeping. It doesn't know that your joints no longer ache when you walk up the stairs. It doesn't know that you've been eating consistently and your blood sugar is stable. It doesn't see you able to play tag with your kids. It doesn't care that you went out to eat and didn't spiral afterwards. It doesn't track your mental clarity, your mood swings, your energy levels. All it knows is mass, and yet we give it so much power. And that power can really wreck your progress. Because when your brain is wired to associate down equals good and up equals bad, then you start to ignore every other marker of success. You start missing the wins. You might feel better than you ever have, stronger and more energized, but if the scale doesn't budge, well, you question, what the heck am I doing this for? Please hear me. You are not your weight. Your body is not a math problem to solve. Your health is not determined by the scale. Now, I'm not saying that nobody should ever use it, okay? Some people track weight as one of many data points, and that's fine if it doesn't mess with your mental health. But for a lot of folks, that's not the case. The scale is a trigger. It's a trap. So if stepping on it ruins your whole day, step off and stay off. Let it collect dust in the back of your closet, okay? It's not giving you useful feedback if it's messing with your mental health. Instead, I'd love you to focus on things that actually matter, okay? The things that the scale can't see, the non-scale victories, the wins that are quiet, the wins that are personal and powerful, and that actually reflect how far you've come. Non-scale victories, or NSVs, if you like acronyms, are the things that your scale can't show you, but they tell you way more about how your health is actually improving, how your life is really changing. They just don't get celebrated often enough. Unless I'm your coach, then we celebrate them all the time. But I'll give you some examples, okay? And if you hear one that actually sounds familiar, maybe one that applies to you, take a second and acknowledge that, because you should be proud of it. If you went out to eat and ordered what you wanted and actually enjoyed it without feeling ashamed or guilty and without planning how to burn it off later, maybe it was a piece of cake or fries, or maybe you took your kid out for ice cream, congrats. That is giving yourself unconditional permission to enjoy food, and it's one of the biggest markers of healing. Be proud of that. If you've stopped labeling foods good and bad and realized that all foods can fit in a healthy diet, that you're not being good when you eat a salad or bad when you have a donut, and you can just eat and move on, that is food freedom. That's mental peace. Be proud of that. If you exercised because it felt good and not because you had to, if you took a dance class that you loved, or you stretched because your body needed it, maybe you went on a walk just to, get some mental clarity, not just to burn calories, that's a non-scale win. That's what it looks like when movement becomes a way to care for your body instead of a way to punish it. Be proud of that. If you got stronger, maybe you carried your groceries inside in one trip, or you chased your kid around the playground and didn't have to sit down after 2 minutes, or you held a plank longer, or lifted heavier, or walked farther than last time. Those are all signs of real functional strength. Congratulations, you are now harder to kill. Be proud of that. If you're sleeping better, if you're now waking up feeling rested for the first time in a long time, or you're not crashing at 3 p.m. anymore, that's your energy returning. Be proud of that. If you stopped eating when you were full, or you left a couple of bites on the plate intentionally, you didn't go into autopilot the way that you used to, or you chose a more nutritious option, that's growth. That's breaking a cycle. Be proud of that. If you didn't body check today, no obsessive mirror glances, no pinching, no stepping on the scale just to see, that's a day you didn't spend at war with yourself. Be proud of that. It's summer. If you went to a beach or a pool and you wore a damn swimsuit, you showed up, you didn't hide. Even if you felt a little uncomfortable, you did it anyway. That's courage. That's presence. Be proud of that. These are the wins that the world will rarely clap for, but I will. Every one of those moments is a sign that you're healing, that you're starting to trust yourself again, that you're showing up for your body in a new way. And the coolest part is that these wins tend to snowball and build on each other. You start to notice one, and then you notice another, and suddenly you're seeing progress in places that the scale could never touch. Instead of simply chasing a smaller number that, let's be honest, nobody in your life sees outside of your doctor once in a while, you're building a life that actually feels like yours. And when something feels good, when it feels like you, that's the kind of progress that you actually want to keep showing up for. My favorite client check-ins are the ones where they recognize a non-scale victory show up in their life. It's in those moments, big or small, that you can feel the shift begin. Not just in how they move or how they eat, but in how they see themselves. Because you are so much more than a number. But after making dieting your personality for years and years and trying to become someone else, you forgot how smart, creative, and kind you are in the body you're in right now. You forgot how hilarious and passionate and resilient you are. Turns out, you're the person who comforts friends when they're having a rough day, who belts their favorite songs in the car at the top of their lungs, who makes people laugh without even trying. None of that is measured by your jeans size. But that's where your focus has been for so many years. Body neutrality allows you to start seeing past just what your body looks like and helps you start to notice that your body just got you through a stressful meeting, carried you through a long walk, hugged someone who needed comfort. These aren't appearance-based wins, but they're powerful reminders that your body is capable, that it's working hard for you, whether or not it looks like you feel like it should. Now, this is not about ignoring your body, okay? It's honestly okay to want to make some changes to it, but at the same time, you should be able to recognize and appreciate what it does for you now. Have you ever thought about what makes you valuable? What do you bring to the table that has nothing to do with your body? Maybe you're a great listener. Maybe you're really smart and talented in your field. Maybe you're raising kids, managing a business, or making your community better, surviving hard stuff that nobody else even sees. The more you can find self-worth in things like this that aren't rooted in your appearance, the more confident you become in who you are. But of course, none of this change happens overnight. This is deep, ingrained in your brain type stuff. And unlearning it does take time. That's why you need to learn self-compassion. Because as you start to rewrite that internal script, it's not always going to be perfect or easy. So let's practice a bit. Instead of standing in front of your mirror and picking apart your thighs or your arms or your stomach, what if you said something like, "This is my body today. It's helping me live. It's not perfect, but I don't have to hate it." Whoa. Weird, right? But guys, even neutral thoughts can be so incredibly healing. Even not judging yourself is big progress. You wouldn't tell your best friend that she's worthless because of her waistline, would you? So then why do you tell yourself that? If you wouldn't say that to a loved one, don't say it to yourself. There are plenty of people out in this world who are happy to tell you that you're worthless. Don't be one of them. Stop being your own bully and start being your own best friend. Now, when people first hear about body neutrality or focusing on non-scale victories, there's a lot of mental resilience, okay? Like a lot of pushback. And honestly, it's understandable, okay? If you have grown up in a world that teaches you that your value lives in your appearance, then this whole conversation kind of sounds like another language that I'm speaking. So I want to walk you through some of the most common questions and pushbacks that I hear. And we're going to try and unpack what's going on underneath them. First thing you might think, well, isn't this just giving up? If I just accept my body or stop weighing myself, I'm going to gain weight. This one comes up all the time, okay? And I think it's because diet culture has trained us to believe that hating your body is the only way to take care of it, which is so sadistic. It tells you that if you are not actively trying to fix yourself, you're lazy or you're not trying hard enough. But body neutrality is not giving up on yourself. It's just giving up the constant war with yourself. You're not throwing in the towel. You're just choosing to care for your body from a place of respect instead of a place of punishment. You're not letting yourself go. You're letting go of the obsession. You can still eat well. You can still move your body. You're just doing it without the shame and the guilt that so many people are driven by that cause them to hate the process and hate themselves. Becoming body neutral is not giving up. It's leveling up. Second thing, if I don't track my weight, how am I supposed to stay motivated to be healthy? Such a good question. Because the fear here, I think, is that without the scale, you're going to have no idea how you're doing. Well, this is the importance of NSVs. But that aside, relying on the scale for motivation often backfires. Raise your hand if you've ever worked out, gotten your steps in, eaten your veggies, drank all the water, blah, 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 and the scale didn't budge. Or worse, it went up. That's not motivating. That's defeating. Now picture this. Instead, you notice that you're sleeping better. You have more energy. Your mood is steadier. You didn't binge when work got really stressful, and you didn't feel the weight, no pun intended, the weight of the scale on your shoulders. Those are wins. And those are the kind of wins that build momentum. NSVs give you dozens of ways to notice your progress, which means that your motivation is not tied to a single number. And if you're someone who likes tracking things, awesome. Track your NSVs. Journal your small wins. Carried the groceries inside without stopping. Didn't panic about eating out. Felt good in my body today. That's still goal-oriented. It's just goals that nourish you instead of judging you. Third thing, can I be neutral and still have fitness and appearance goals? Yes, you can absolutely have goals. You want to feel stronger? You want to build muscle? You want to run a race or just wear an outfit that really makes you feel amazing? That doesn't make you a hypocrite. That makes you human. Body neutrality is not about pretending you don't care at all. It's about putting your self-worth in a safer place. You can still want to change, but you're doing it from a place of curiosity or care, not from a place of self-loathing. Got it? Let's say you start exercising, okay? In a body neutral mindset, you might start to think, I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to feel strong and I want to feel energized. Not, I need to be thin so that somebody will love me. Because then, if you don't hit your physical goals right away, or if you miss a few workouts, you don't spiral because your identity is not riding on it. You're still worthy. You're still enough. That's what neutrality gives you, a solid ground to stand on, no matter what your body is doing. And ironically, it's easier to keep consistent habits when you're not so goddamn anxious about them. So if you're worried that being more kind to yourself is going to make you lose all discipline, I want you to remember this. Fear and shame are terrible long-term motivators. We have scientific studies that support this, okay? The best drivers towards success are respect and compassion. When you respect your body, you want to take care of it. You want to move, rest, stretch, and nourish it, not because you're trying to become worthy, but because you're already worthy. Wellness is not yo-yo diets and last chance workouts and constantly feeling like a failure if the scale didn't budge, okay? Wellness is self-care. It's sustainability. It's something you can actually live with for more than 30 days. When you get off the hamster wheel of restriction and guilt, you can finally make space for something that is long-term and sustainable. And I just mentioned some studies. There have been other studies that show that when you take a weight-neutral approach to health, meaning they focus on like behaviors and not just body size, they actually end up with better long-term outcomes, lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol, fewer disordered eating habits, and just better mental health. Why? Because they're consistent. They're not swinging between extremes anymore. They're building routines that last because they feel good to live in. If you were to start today, start your wellness journey, start building healthy habits, you might, a year from now, still be the same weight. Or not. We won't know because you don't weigh yourself, right? But there will be some things that will have changed. Your blood work is going to start to look better. You're not going to be as exhausted all the time. You're going to feel more confident navigating meals when you're out with friends. You're going to be stronger, more mobile, less achy. You won't panic if brunch runs a little bit long and your meal schedule gets off, okay? You're going to know how to nourish yourself without spiraling. These are real markers of wellness. And they're so much more important than just chasing a size. So many of the health benefits that we associate with weight loss, better heart health, lower blood sugar, more energy, don't come from weight change itself. They come from behavior changes. They come from better sleep, regular movement, balanced meals, less stress, which, guess what? You can do without making weight loss your only goal. When you decide to stop using your scale and your weight as your report card, something amazing happens. food and movement stop being a source of stress and start becoming a source of joy. You start moving not to burn off dinner, but because walking in the evening helps you clear your mind. You start cooking not to hit your macros, but because you love how your body feels when it's nourished properly. You realize that finding a type of movement you actually enjoy, like dancing or body surfing or martial arts or lifting or yoga, makes it easy to stick with for the long haul. Because when you like something, as I always say, you're going to do that thing more often. And I hope that we're in agreement that you're not just looking for something that you can do for 6 weeks and then be done with it, okay? Because that is not long-term change. That's just a temporary crash diet. And what you do want, I hope, is to adopt a new lifestyle, a new identity, if you remember last week's episode. But let's zoom out even more for a moment, because your body is going to change. That's life. Stress, illness, injuries, aging, childbirth, menopause, surgeries, accidents. Your weight might fluctuate. Your shape will definitely change. Body neutrality gives you the resilience to ride those waves without losing your self-worth. Instead of spiraling every time your jeans fit differently in a different point of your life, you're going to ask yourself, what do I need right now to feel good? Maybe it's more movement. Maybe it's more rest. Maybe it's simply new jeans. Okay. What you need will change during different points in your life. And with body neutrality, you're going to be able to pivot with your body and not against it. And that means a more sustainable, stable, and sane approach to health for life. Not just until swimsuit season, not just until your vacation or your wedding, but for your whole life. Here's your challenge for the week. Try noticing one non-scale victory a day. Write it down. Even better, leave a comment on the podcast episode, okay? Maybe it's, I went for a walk because it felt good. Maybe it's, I didn't talk shit about my body today. Big or small, it counts. I promise those little moments start to stack up. And when you notice them regularly, they will change the way that you feel about your body. As we wrap up, I want to say this. I know this is not easy. I spent 30 plus years hating myself and living in a body that did not feel like home. Changing your mindset is a process. It takes time to unlearn all the diet culture noise and nonsense, okay? So be patient with yourself. Be curious, be kind, and know that I'm here rooting you on. Your worth is not found on that little glass square on your bathroom floor. Screw the scale. Go be awesome. And I'll catch you next time. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Showing Up Anyway. You can find it for free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And wherever you're listening, if you like the show, I'd love it if you gave me a 5-star review, because that does help other people find the show. And hopefully it'll help change their life just like you're looking to change yours. If you're listening on Spotify, though, you can follow me and tap the bell icon so you get notifications when new episodes come out. I'm Coach Adam. Remember, when things get challenging, keep showing up